Mad upon you and Jerusalem, stand and face Jerusalem. Blessing of the Sabbath. Barak the Yahweh. Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Asherah. Atalanawa. Hashabath. Bashalawam. Thawada. Aman. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, the most high name of Christ that gives us the Sabbath and peace. Thank you, so be it. So Ha'ad Ma'ayat Asherayim Akkad, Psalm 121. Anya Harayim Ma'ayim Ya O Haharim Ma'ayan Yabawa'a Isaiah Yabawa'a Ma'Yahweh Shaisha Shamayim Wa'arataza La'a Yanathan Lamawat Regalia, Yala'a, Yanawam, Shashamaka, Hana, La'a, Yanawam, Wala'a, Yayashan, Shashwama, Yasharallah, Yahweh, Shamaria, Yahweh, Tazalia, Ayon, Yam, Yawamam, Hashemash, La'a, Hakaya, Wayarak, La'a, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashamaya, Makau, Ra, Yashamar, Napasha, Yahweh, Yashamar, Hawalakia, Wabawaya, Maitha, Wa'aid, Iwalam, Bahasham, Yahusha, Thawada, Aman.
Psalms 121. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Amen.
Amen. Shema Yashra'Elah, hear, O Israel. Shema Yashra'Elah, Yahweh. Yashra'Elah, Yahweh. Allah Hayanawa. Yahweh Echad. Shema Yashra'Elah, Yahweh. Allah Hayanawa. Yahweh Echad.
Deuteronomy 6:4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Amen.
Amen. Tapala Yahweh, the Lord's Prayer. Abi Yanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shanka, Yahweh, Malakwaka, Thaba'ar, Ratazawanka, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'arataza, Kha, Bashamayim, Talanawa, Lakam, Yowam, Za, Wasalaklanawa, Kabawathnawa, Kasalaknawa, Kabawathjanawa, Wala Abayanawa, Oh, Nasayawan, Abo, Awashinawa, Mara, Kaya, Laka, Hamalak, Waha'ala, Wathapara, La'aiwalam, Aman.
Matthew 6:9. After this manner, therefore, pray, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
Amen. Ha'ashra Matazawah off the Ten Commandments. La'ah. Yahaya. Lakah. Alahayim. Akarium. Alpanya. La'ah. Daisha. Lakah. Pasol. Wala'ah. Zaibadam. La'ah. Dalakwaka. Shamwa. Yahweh. Alahayaka. Lashua. Zakar. Ath. Hayawum. Hashabath. Lakodashwa. Kabad. Abiakar. Wa'amakar. La'ah. Daratazak. La'ah. Dana'at. La'ah. Daganab. La'ah. Daina. Shakur. La'ah. Zakhamad. Ko. Asherah. Lara'ayaka. Aman.
Exodus 22. I am the Lord thy God, which I brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, a jealous God, visit the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days God made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and holiday. Honor thy father and thy mother, that the days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Amen.
Amen. Shop Bobby, see it.
You sit there now.
I'll see you.
You sit there. Let me give you a strong chair. Big chair down the back.
Barakata Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Asherah, Nathalanawa, Parya Agapin, Thwada Aman, La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Ath Yasha Allah. English translation. Blessed are you, the Most High, in the name of Christ, that gives to us the fruit of the vine. Thank you, so be it. To the Most High, in the name of Christ, with Israel. I mind if I put you on Rostam, stand and face Jerusalem. Barakatha Yahweh, Hagadol, Rakwam, Abiyah, Wanaba'ah, Aliyawan, Malat, Shal, Shemayim, Waratazah, Wakol, Gabarim, Kayayim, Wagam, Hamashiach, Mayahawa, Adawan Ahab Nawa, Apalah, Yawaitazah, Yahshai, Zakar Nawa, Yahweh, Barataza 1, Ainka, Yasha'ala, Izanawa, Panah, Wa'asap, Yasha'ala, O, Nanawa, Yum Yun, Isa, Kayuwamyam, Makwadam, Babakusha, Shalat, Maya Ka'ala, Wahatazudat, Ahayim, La, Maganawa, Rapanawa, Washamar, Alnawa, Ba'akwor, Shalat, Parocha, Sho, Yahushai, Lanawa, Lalamanawa, Rabiam, Kakama, Tabawana, Wada'ith, Sho, Gabarka, Bahasham, Yahushai, Tawada, Thumyad, Waiulam, Amun. English translation. Blessed are you, Yahweh, the great, merciful, mighty, terrible, most high power, King of heaven and earth and all things living, and also the anointed from Yahweh, our Lord, our friend, the wonderful counselor, Yahushai. Remember us, Yahweh, favorably, your people Israel. Help us build and gather Israel. Most high, we beg you, right now, like the days of old, please send Michael and the righteous powers or angels to protect us, heal us, and watch over us. Mainly send the spirit of Yahushua or Christ to us to teach us much wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of thy word. In the name of Yahushua, I thank you always and forever, so be it. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua that gives us the law. Barakatah Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushua, Asherah, Talanawa, Pathorah. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua that gives us light to see. Barakatah Yahweh, Hashem Yahushua, Asherah, Talanawa, Awar, Awa. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua that gives us the ram's horn to call the people. Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Asherah, Ethelanawa, Koran, Hayal, La Korah, Aim. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua that gives to us the olive oil to anoint Israel. Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Asherah, Ethelanawa, Hasheman, Zayath, Lamashach, Yasha'ala. Shabbat, be seated.
You good? I'm good, brother. A lot of things. I know you always sure.
Hey, I'm gonna show up.
What is that? What's our board for? Apple cinnamon. I can't spray it away. Oh, I use apple cinnamon. That's the way to spray it on the day. You look like it. Sure. Okay. So the day is the 28th.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. 28th, 29th, 30th. I'll be in class. We count down now, baby.
All right. Shalom, Yashala.
Shalom.
Lord and the trumpets.
Mm-hmm.
So, Lord's will, everybody was able to dial in or listen in to the service this evening. We went over new moon scriptures, Sabbath scriptures, as well as scriptures pertaining to the memorial blowing of the trumpets. So we're still in all three of these holy days until sundown, a day of festive occasion for worship and of the feast day, which, you know, some of us were here a little late today. We're here late and eating and having a festive occasion. Got up, made a nice, breakfast. Got here a little late, but we're here to keep through the service and keep the day festive. All right. So again, peace and Ashar, Shabbat, Kadash, and memorial blowing the trumpets to everybody, or happy Sabbath, new moon, and memorial blowing the trumpets. So as always, this is Hayashra Kanas, the congregating of Israel, the coming together. As the Most High says, gather yourselves together unto me, which means unto not just to God, but to his commandments, his statutes, and his judgments, that we may learn from them, that we may grow, build, and be esteemed and found worthy before the Most High as his sons and daughters, as servants of the Lord. And the only way we can do that is by keeping his will, which is dietary laws, ceremonial laws, and moral and civil laws, to rear us up in the right way, to give us a better way of thinking, and to separate us from all the other cultures and madness that we have that influences us to do things that the Lord looks at as evil, like it tells you in Proverbs 12:26. The righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, but the way of the wicked seduceth them. Right? So we've been seduced by different doctrines, cultures, philosophies, so forth and so on, to have us do things that the Lord in his commandments says it's not so. So we execute Revelations, the first chapter and the third verse, where it says, read it real quick. Revelations 1 and 3, where it says, blessed is he that readeth and that heareth the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. So each Sabbath day we go and read in the scriptures, so that we can pull out history, pull out the current state, pull out prophecies and instructions in righteousness to rear us up, right? So we're trying to keep that order that comes from the Most High in Christ of constantly being able to continue to read in his word. So we usually read Old Testament, New Testament, and then hidden books known as the Apocrypha. This week, we're in the Apocrypha to continue on in the storyline or the history pertaining to our sister Judith. Right? And the last time we read, we had the heathens that were about to invade and come upon us, but one of the heathens warned them that if they're keeping their laws, that you can't come against them, right? As long as they're not sinning, their God, their power is going to defend them. But because of this statement, he was looked at as a fool and cast out towards us, and we took him in, and he briefed us on what that discussion was, and let them know that these nations was coming to invade. Israel got troubled, faint-hearted, and gave an ultimatum, pretty much, that if the Most High wouldn't come and save us or redeem us in a certain amount of time, we would give in to their petition, right? So I'll read that before we get into chapter 8, right? So we'll pick up in the story. So we'll go backwards to chapter 7. We're in chapter 8, but we're going to go back to chapter 7. Verse 30. Actually, I'm going to start at verse 24. So this is Judith chapter 7, verse 24. It says, God be judged between us and you, for ye have done us great injury, in that ye have not required peace of the children of Asher. For now we have no helper, but God hath sold us into their hands, that we should be thrown down before them with thirst and great destruction. Now therefore call them unto you, and deliver the whole city for a spoil to the people of Holofernes and to all his army, right? So it's like you laying down, you waving a white flag and saying that we'll be servants unto you and we'll pay tribute. Only if we can be left alive that we can have, we're not famine as we were in the siege. It says, for it is better for us to be made a spoil unto them than to die for thirst. For we will be as servants that our souls may live, and not see the death of our infants before our eyes, nor our wives, nor our children to die. Right? So That's what the men did back then, that they rather live than die of thirst, right? So it says in verse 28, we take to witness against you the heaven and the earth and our power and our Lord of our fathers, which punisheth us according to our sins and the sins of our fathers, that he do not according as we have said this day, right? So he was like, hopefully Most High as well is that, you know, these things don't transpire. But now here's where it comes in. Yeah, you're gonna have to mute your phone or go in the back. All right, so you're gonna have to go in the back while you're working on that because it's disturbing this. So verse 29, it says, then there was great weeping with one consent in the midst of the assembly, and they cried unto the Lord God with a loud voice, right? So now everyone is, you know, crying and sighing out. So here it comes. Then said Ozias to them, brethren, of good courage, and let us yet endure 5 days, in the which the space the Lord our power may turn his mercy toward us, for he will not forsake us utterly. And if these days pass and there come no help unto us, I will do according to your word, right? So I'm giving the Most High 5 days. If 5 days the Most High don't do anything, then we're going to give to their consent that the advice that was that we should be servants unto these people so that we don't die of thirst, right? So he's putting a constraint on the Most High for him to come save us. 32. And he dispersed the people, everyone to their own charge, and they went unto the walls and towers of their city and sent the women and children into their houses, and they were very low brought in the city, right? So now everybody dispersed, go back to where your stations, your posts were, and we're going to wait out the 5 days, send the women and children home, and we're going to wait. We're going to watch or what have you, right? So now this is what the circumstance or the state of Israel is right now. We're waiting, right? And we're watching that they don't come and attack us in the space of the 5 days that we're waiting on the Most High to send help, send a sign, send a savior, send a redeemer, do something, right? So now this is where the story picks up in Judith chapter 8, verse 1.
Hold on for a minute, sir. Did you understand that? Understand what? What he just read to you. Of course. Okay, I gotta make sure. Did you understand? Yeah. You know, what you but we be on the porch talking and we talk about this. Sometimes I ain't gonna hear enough.
You know, all right.
Every day, 5 days.
Yeah.
We gonna explain it. No, I got something for him.
Yeah, I know. That's why I did that. That's why I did that last night. That's why I did that last night, and he couldn't explain it, right? He talking about you not right, but you didn't.
I put the envelope on him. So we'll see. I write down the notes like a big door. Because him and some the little one in the back there, they don't know when we.
Yeah, but see, that's the problem. You worrying about them not knowing, but you don't be knowing. But you gotta. Well, if you have in the Bible class, you gotta know. I know. Yeah, that's why we asking y'all questions. No, but I'm just saying, you're asking if he's straight. Yeah. He's straight. Because he don't know tomorrow night. No, you ain't gonna know tomorrow. No, I know, because he watched the Eagles. He knows the day. I know. Gonna know by 5 o'clock. All right, let's go. Let's go. Judith chapter 8, verse 1. Thank you, bro. All right. It says, at that time Judith heard thereof, which was of the daughter of Merari, the son of Ox, the son of Joseph, the son of Elsiah, the son of Ananias, the son of Gideon, the son of Rephaim, the son of Esitho, the son of Eliu, the son of Eliab, the son of Nathaniel, the son of Samuel, the son of Salasido, the son and kindred, who died in the barley harvest, right? So now it goes into her because it's based around her, and it goes into all of her family tree, of her lineage of who she came from. Then it goes into her husband, right? His name was Manasseh. He was of her tribe and of her people as well, right? So it says he died in the barley harvest, right? So when is the barley harvest? When is the barley harvest? Gabar, you don't say anything because he rests night. So I want to see if he remember. We went through this just last night. He don't know. I ain't asking him. I'm asking you. When is the barley? But anyway, here you go. When is the barley harvest?
that season go by, it comes barley season.
I'll make it easier for you.
Go ahead, do that.
Out of the 4 seasons, which season is the barley harvest?
Okay, it won't be winter. It won't be spring.
Huh?
Spring.
Spring. You guess right.
I don't guess. I'm from Georgia.
Okay.
Oh, now, I knew how to plant with my grandfather.
Yes. What else? What else is in that season when we talk about the barley? What else is coming up?
Man, you messing with me.
Yeah, because you read it.
Okay. So I may not be good at that one right there. But I knew once the winter went by, April came, we planted our seeds. May, June, around that time right there. I don't know the date. But I know as we did that, it started growing and sprouting out. Because I had to go with my grandmother and pick. Check it here for.
So the answer to the question was, you read in Exodus 9:31 last night, and it said the flax and the barley were smitten, right? So during the barley harvest, you had also the flax that came up, like people eat flax seeds and stuff. They put the flax. So now that was what was coming up during that time, around when we keep the Passover, which is the spring season. That's around the first month of our year, right? It's because we have to have the barley, March or April, we have to have the barley season in harvest during the time of keeping the Passover. So now it says he died during the barley harvest. So we know he died during the spring season, right? So let's figure out what happened to him. It says for verse 3, for as he stood overseeing them that bound sheaves in the field, the heat came upon his head, and he fell on his bed and died in the city of Bethulia. And they buried him with his fathers in the field between Dothaim and Balaam, right? So he had like a heat stroke while he was out there overseeing those who were bounding up the sheaves from the harvest. He fell out from a heat stroke and died. Right. So this is not a common occurrence, but we know it does happen from time to time with certain people.
It's hot in Georgia. I know it's hot down there where they at in Africa or Jerusalem.
Right, because we're in Africa then.
No. I say if it's hot in Georgia, I know it's hot down there in Africa.
Why are you saying Africa?
Well, that's where it was. Jerusalem. It was in Egypt. It was in Egypt. That's Africa.
Who was in Egypt?
At the time of the barley harvest, just the Passover, right?
We're reading about Judith.
When you reference the barley harvest of when we was coming out of Egypt.
Right. But we're talking about him having a heat stroke in Jerusalem. We're not in Egypt no more. So that's what I'm talking about. We're in Jerusalem. So the point of reference would be Jerusalem. That's like saying, yeah, it could happen in Soweto. Right? Okay, cool. But I don't care about Soweto right now because the story references Jerusalem. They're in Israel. We're in Israel at this time, right? Because somebody could say, yeah, that don't happen over here. It don't get that hot over here. Okay, well, it gets that hot here in Israel where he caught that. Right across the Red Sea. I understand that.
They're about 20, 30 miles away, but they're right next to each other.
I get it. Right. The reason why I'm very particular because words mean something. So when somebody says Egypt, because you have a lot of people who think that Israel is in Africa.
Yeah, right.
Right.
That in my Bible class.
Some people believe that Israel is in Africa, and it's not. So that's why I want to make sure we separate those two. Right.
That's a good argument because it's right across the Red Sea. No, but they cut that thing through there. Some people consider that as one continent. But
I know.
See, they separated the Red Sea, right? And Israel actually touches Egypt at the top. The Red Sea it touches.
Right. But now when you look at today, depending on who you're talking to, when they cut out the carvings of the continent of Africa, right? Is Israel in there?
No.
Okay. So that's an easy, discussion to go through. But the Most High tells you in the Bible that Israel is above all other places, right? Whether it's Egypt, whether it's Ethiopia, whatever. These are countries and certain regions. So we're not even just dealing with continents, we're dealing with a country. Separate or isolate this country from everywhere else. That's what the Most High says his eye is on that region, not Egypt, right? Egypt is in, like you said, is below.
Right.
We ain't dealing with Egypt. The Most High is only concerned or dealing with Israel, right? So that way you eliminate, oh, it's in this continent.
But when he says below, he don't mean sea level. He just means
no, not sea level. Yeah, not sea level. Not sea level. Yeah, above. Like how the Most High says. Exactly, like how the Most High says in Deuteronomy 7:6, above all people that are upon the faith, right? They're not physically taller than everybody. They are above them by social, how the Most High has elevated them above everybody else. Right.
Shema, I got a question. I got to answer Monday.
Wait, so again, you got a question and an answer?
I got to answer Monday.
Okay.
We're in the Bible that we don't supposed to mess with white people at all. Okay, that's the one I.
All right, so we'll get that after the class.
Okay, but please.
All right.
Please, because I'm my spiritual suffering class. I'm in there with sorry, I messed up the class, but it's about the Bible. Well, I'm still doing it. For real. And he said the counselor in the class about 19 of it, what they said in the Bible is, sir, when I come to class Monday morning, I'm gonna see. There you go. This is my man right here that I can pass and I can tell them where it said it because I got a white woman walk through. Excuse me. He saw no. This is about Bible class.
All right, we'll get those answers after class.
She handed me a flyer.
We'll get those answers after class.
Okay. She handed me a flyer that she wanted. I'm gonna throw you out.
You don't have the power to do that. Shut your mouth. Wait a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
You better shut your mouth. And I mean every word of it.
All right, so we're going to pick back up in Judith the 8th chapter, and we at the 4th verse. So this is Judith 8:4. So Judith was a widow in her house 3 years and 4 months, right? So here's a sister who her husband Manasseh died from the heat stroke during the time of the barley harvest. And she lived by herself in her house for 3 years and 4 months. And it says in verse 5, and she made her a tent upon the top of her house and put on sackcloth upon her loins and wear her widow's apparel, right? So she had her own regular house, but on top of the house, because our houses is not like how we have houses now, right? Where it's kind of like, you'll have like a whole high rise or you have a slant. We had like a flat type house where you can put things on top of it. Like you can actually stand and walk around like an apartment complex or a corporate building, right? Residential houses is a little bit different than what we have today. And we didn't have super duper high houses, right? We had ones that were maybe 1-2 stories high. And then we were able to do things like what you're talking about here, right? So in her widowhood, she must have felt that she didn't want to stay in her house, right? This is all assumption because, sometimes when people die, they don't want to go into certain areas. They don't want to sleep in a room anymore because it brings memories and so forth and so on. So she had a tent, little private area on the top of her house, and that's where she dwelt. Yahweh.
Deuteronomy 22:8. It says, when thou buildest a new house, then thou shalt make a battlement for thy roof, that thou bring not blood upon thine house, if any man fall from thence.
So when you have your house, it has to have like a border around it to protect anybody who goes on top of your roof from looking over or leaning over and they slip and fall off the roof. So you got to have some type of a embattlement around it so that you can go and stand and look and lean over like how they have in certain places today, right? So this is where she dwelt, and she put on sackcloth, mourning apparel, right? And put on her widowhood. So she didn't wear or dress in her normal apparel, right? As we read on, we're going to find out the real deal behind this sister. But in her mourning, in her widowhood, this is what she did, right? So now go to Isaiah, the 22nd chapter, and the first verse. Isaiah 22:1. So it says, the burden of the valley of the vision, the burden of the valley of vision. What aileth thee now that thou art wholly gone up to the housetops, right? So here it is. The Lord is asking, what is the problem? Why are you in the state that you are in, right? That now has caused you to leave your normal house and go up to the housetop for seclusion, right? Because that was something that was normal that Israel did, that you went and found a place of seclusion to separate yourself from everyone else, right? And you did that when you was troubled or you were in mourning or something like that happened, right? So that's first Isaiah 22:1. Also go to 1 Samuel. 1 Samuel, the 9th chapter. First Samuel 9:25. So it says, and when they were come down from the high place into the city, Samuel communed with Saul upon the top of the house. And they arose early. And it came to pass about the spring of the day that Samuel called Saul to the top of the house, saying, up, that I may send thee away. And Saul arose, and they went out, both of them, he and Samuel, abroad, right? So I read this to show that this is not what Judith had, was not uncommon. You've had people who had areas to dwell in or to commune in on top of their houses that they would go and even have conversations private or because they were in mourning, right? Yahweh Kanan.
What you just read, Sam?
1 Samuel 9, chapter 25 and 26. And there's another one in Proverbs. Proverbs, let me see if this is it. 21. Proverbs. Chapter 21. Right. So this one is funny. Proverbs chapter 21, verse 9. So Proverbs 21 and 9 says, it is better to dwell in a corner of the housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house, right? So again, remembering that the scriptures is written to men. The Most High's voice is going out to men. So from this perspective, sometimes when you have disagreements with your wife, right, and you in your normal abode, sometimes when you walking about, there's always something going on, and a comment here and a comment here, and it sparks a whole nother war in the house. Right. The Lord said it's better to go and dwell in the corner of the housetop to the dwell in all that whole wide space with a brawling woman, because that's going to be a headache, right? Y'all need to separate, and you go over there and you get your own privacy and you deal, you good, right? So again, this is something that, you know, various different reasons why we would do this if we had a house that was good. All right, so now let's go back to Judith. You can write one more down. One more. Jeremiah 48, 38. Just write it down. Jeremiah 48, 38. This is Most High bringing Jeremiah 48, 38. It says, there shall be lamentation generally upon all the housetops of Moab and the streets thereof. For I have broken Moab like a vessel wherein is no pleasure, saith the Lord. So now even them, the Most High is going to cause woes and lamentations that they would then go and dwell on their housetops as well, like what Judith is doing in her mourning from her widowhood, right? So now we have verse 6. It says, and she fasted all the days of her widowhood, save or except the eves of the Sabbaths, and the eves of the new moons and the new moons, and the feasts and solemn days of the house of Israel, right? So while she was in her widowhood, she fasted a lot, right? You know, when you lost something that was very close to you, sometimes you draw closer to something else. She drew closer to the Most High, to your hand, right? So she fasted often, like Yahweh Shah told us that we should fast often when he left, right? We would have to fast even more. But now when it comes to the feast days, feast days, Sabbath days, new moons, right? She didn't fast on those days, right? She ate or prepared her food, right, around those days. So on the day and the day before, right, she would make sure that she had victuals prepared to participate in the keeping of those days, Sabbath, new moon, and the solemn and holy feast days, right? So she didn't say, well, I'm going to fast on the Most High's feast day, and we all coming together to worship, and there's food and everything prepared. And she's like, no, I'm not doing that because I'm feasting, I'm fasting to draw closer to the Most High. But the Most High is like, nah, this is what this is for. Well, you can come and feast and come before me and make a sacrifice and offering and partake of it, right? So she had that wisdom in mind to not do that on those days. Gabar.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. That make it seem like she fasted every day. She was fasting certain days.
I wouldn't say that. If it was 7 days in a week, right, and you would think outside of a new moon or a feast or a solemn day that she would fast 6 days. It just said that she fasted. How many days we don't know.
Okay, so it's like, say, whenever she remembered about her husband, she might have fasted that day, and then the next day she might eat. But
right.
That's what it sounds like. She fasted that day except Friday.
Right. Or those holy days. Yeah, but it says that she fasted all the days of her widowhood. When in retrospect, you say she fasted a lot. Actually, when you read Luke, the 12th chapter, Luke, the 12th chapter. Is it Luke 12 or is it Luke 2? Luke 2, not 12. I'm sorry. Luke 2. Luke 2 and 36. Luke 2 and 36. It says, and there was one Anna, a prophetess, the daughter of Phanuel of the tribe of Asher. She was of a great age and lived with an husband 7 years from her virginity. And she was a widow of about 84 years, which departed not from the temple, but served God with fastings and prayers night and day, right? So that would almost seem the same thing where every day she's fasting, right? Night and day, always at the temple fasting. So now here it is. Now with the insight with Judith, we know that on the new moons and Sabbaths, feast days and solemn assemblies, that wouldn't be a normal thing within Israel because that's the custom, that's the law that the Lord requires us to come together to partake in a festive occasion to keep these days. But it's the similarity between Judith and Anna that they both were in their widowhood, and while they're in their widowhood, they attended to the Most High. They were at the temple, or they were always in prayer, accompanied with fasting. So now we also read about this in Tobit, the 12th chapter. Tobit, the 12th chapter, and the 8th verse. Tobit 12 and 8, where it says, prayer is good with fasting and alms and righteousness. So when you're praying to the Most High, right, to take it to the next level, fast, right? Good example is that during the time of Esther, right? When we was about to be, annihilated by what the Edomites said, her uncle, cousin Mordecai, and her had to do what? Go out and fast and then pray. Fast for 3 days and then pray, or accompany with prayer to the Most High, so that he would hear our plight and that he would help and redeem us, right? So in these situations, same thing with Esther. Now we're going to see prayer is coming along with fasting to make it your humble petition before the Lord. All right. So going back to Judith, 8th chapter. So Judith, 8th chapter, and we at the 7th verse. It says, she was also of a goodly countenance and very beautiful to behold. And her husband Manasseh had left her gold and silver and men servants and maid servants and cattle and lands. And she remained upon them, right? So here is a widow who's rich, right? Had a lot of wealth, gold, silver, had a lot of servants to maintain her land that she had, right? And she dwelt there, but she's dwelling on the top of her house in the tent, right? She's not really enjoying everything, but she still has control over everything that's going on. But now check out what she does. It says in verse 8, and there was none that gave her an ill word, for she feared God greatly, right? So none could come and say, oh, you know what, she's two-timey, or she's sometimey, or, you know, I seen her doing this or doing that. Everybody had great words to speak about this sister. She had a righteous mind, right? That and everything that she said or did, it was highly favored by not only the Most High, but also by those of her people at that time. Verse 9. Now, when she heard the evil words of that they fainted for the lack of water, for Judith had heard all the words that Ozias had spoken unto them, and that he had sworn to deliver the city unto the Assyrians after 5 days, right? So she got word of what was being said as far as for this condition, that we was going to wait 5 days for the Lord, and if he don't show, we're going to give ourselves as captives unto them. Verse 10, then she sent her waiting women or waiting woman that had the government of all things that she had, to call Ozias and Chabris and Charmis, the ancients of the city, right? So she had somebody who was near to her, because remember, she has a lot of wealth and a lot of control, a lot of things, but she's dwelling in a tent, but she has someone who's like her steward, like a stewardess for her. A steward is someone who takes control or manages all of your affairs, right? Manages your money, manages your household, manages the people. She has that task. So now she's the one that's coming in and out from before Judith, right? And she's called her waiting woman. Pretty much it's like the same thing as like a steward. So she's now telling her that she needs to go and get the ancient or the elders of the city so she can have a conversation or conference with them because of this situation that's going on. You can write down Genesis 39:4 to go with this verse, this 10th verse, because it's almost similar to when Joseph was in Egypt. He was second in command, or he was the steward of Pharaoh over all his affairs, right? Anything that had to do with any of the monies or business that the Pharaoh had to do, Joseph was over that. Genesis 39:4. So Genesis 39:4 says, and Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer over his house, and all that he had, he put into his hand, right? So he had control over all his affairs as well. So sometimes you'll find somebody trustworthy, right? That you see based on their actions, that they're upstanding, that they, have your best intentions at heart, that you give or you confide in them to take over affairs when either you yourself don't have the wit or the knowledge to do it, or you at a certain, you're kind of not you're incapable of physically doing that task, right? So you delegate or you designate that to somebody else, right? But again, it's based on, you got to find somebody trustworthy to have your good intentions at heart. It's like sometimes people who are ball players or celebrities, and they make a lot of money, right? They have several houses and make a lot of money. You'll see sometimes they'll go and have one of their family members manage their affairs. Their mother or their father or their uncle will be the one that's with them because they trust their family over you bringing somebody else in. Or some people may not trust their family because they figure that they're going to go and rob and take all their money. So they're going to go and find somebody else that they can trust, that they may just going to hire based off reputation, right? And make them like, hey, who do you deal with? All your affairs. Or this is my lawyer. My lawyer is great. I used to deal with him, but he was a snake. So I don't deal with him no more. I've been with him for 15 years and he's always been straight. I never had any issues. Word, you think he'll take somebody else on? I'll ask him. And then now you Have somebody else to handle your affairs, because based on reputation, you figure that they have a good word to back up their actions. All right, so now back in verse 11, it says, and they came unto her, and she said unto them, hear me now, O ye governors of the inhabitants of Bethulia, for your words that ye have spoken before the people this day are not right, touching this oath which ye made and pronounced between God and you, and have promised to deliver the city to our enemies, unless within these days the Lord turn to help you. Right? So she recognized that, man is not powerful enough to constrain the Most High to do certain things. It's the other way around, not the way it is set here, that they're making it the Most High has to do something by a certain period. Verse 12, and now who are ye that ye have tempted God this day and stand instead of God among the children of men, right? Who are you men to take that position of authority to say what is and not going to happen, right? That's something that the Most High is supposed to dictate, right? You're supposed to go ask the word of the Most High from the prophets how things are going to go. That's what we did in the past, right? When we was going to war, the men sent the prophets out to go and communicate with the Lord, and he said, no, don't go out this day. And Israel didn't go. Then he said, okay, now you can go and I will deliver them into your hand. We always had to wait upon the Most High's directional guidance before we made any movement. You can write down Ecclesiasticus. Give me 1 second. So Ecclesiasticus chapter 37. And 15. 37:15. Actually, I'm going to start at 14 and read down to 16. 15 is the main one that I want, but I'm going to read the other two verses. So it's sometimes want to tell them more than 7 watchmen that sit above in a high tower. And above all this, pray to the Most High that he will direct the way in truth, or thy way in truth, right? So you always want to rely on the Most High, to rely that his direction is the way in which you should go, based on truth, right? So that's based on his will. Because sometimes you may have Satan or someone else come and give you counsel or direction that's not of the truth of the Most High, or not of the will of the Most High. So everything is going to be based or centered around how the Most High's righteousness works. Because the next verse says in verse 16, let reason go before every enterprise and counsel before every action. So you have to reason within yourself. Like it tells you in Isaiah, come, let us reason together. Reason has to enter in, right? You have to think and consider your actions before you do them, right? Consider your intentions and your motives before you execute, so that you will always fall into the realm of the Most High. All right. So let's go back to Judith. And we have verse 12 again. It says, and now who are ye that have tempted God this day, and stand instead of God among the children of men? And now try the Lord Almighty, but ye shall never know anything. For ye cannot find the depth of the heart of man, neither can ye perceive the thing he thinketh. Then how can ye search out God that have made all things, and know his mind, or comprehend his purpose? Nay, my brethren, provoke not the Lord our power to anger, right? So this is almost similar to the counsel that Uriel gave to Esdras, right? When you go back to 2nd Esdras chapter 4. 2nd Esdras chapter 4. And I'll read from verse 2. Second Esdras in the Apocrypha, chapter 4, verse 2. And then I'm going to jump down to verse 11. So Second Esdras 4, 2, and 11. It says, verse 2, and said, thine heart hath gone too far in this world, and thinkest thou to comprehend the way of the Most High? Right? Can man comprehend every intention or purpose that the Most High has? No. Right? We can't explain a lot of things that we see happen in today's society. Some things we can, but we don't understand every purpose that the Most High has. Right? Like I always say, why, certain catastrophic events may happen to certain people or to certain regions or to certain times. What's the Most High's purpose for that? Right? When we read in Judges, when the Most High had Samson go and get with that heathen, the parents didn't understand it. They was like, why you can't go find some woman of your own nation, right, of your own kindred? And it says they didn't understand that this was of the Lord that Samuel was going to go do this so that he can find an occasion to the Philistines, meaning this was going to be the circumstance or the catalyst so that Israel now was going to be at war with the Philistines. Right? That event is what caused the other event. But we don't always understand the purpose of the Most High or to comprehend everything that the Lord does. So you can't constrain or confine or think that you're going to make or force the Most High to do something in every circumstance. Right? So maybe the Most High brought this along to bring something else. Right? That's what happened with Samson. It's the same thing that's happening right now with Judith, or during the time of Judith with Israel and these Assyrians. So now go back to Judith 8. Right. Also, I'm going to add Matthews. I'm going to add Matthews 5:33. Because they entered into an oath with them on God's name that this would happen, right? And she's saying that wasn't right. How could you go and enter into an oath the Most High to go tempt him that way? So in Matthew 5:33, it says, again, ye have heard that it have been said by them of old time, thou shalt not forswear thyself, but thou shalt perform unto the Lord thine oaths. But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. Neither shall thou swear by thy head, because thou cannot make one hair white or black. But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay, kun, la, la. For whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil, which was what we're reading right now. This was evil, but an attempt the Most High to try to force his hand to come in and save them within a period of 5 days, or else they will put the whole nation in captivity. Right? Yahweh Kanan.
Yeah, I just want to read this quickly. Acts 23:12. It says, and when it was day, certain of the Jews banded together and bound themselves under a curse, saying that they would not neither eat nor drink till they had killed Paul.
Right.
Bound themselves, they're going to kill Paul and not going to eat or drink.
Right.
So they didn't get a chance to kill Paul.
Right.
It wasn't Most High will.
Right. So now, because of that oath, now when you enter into an oath, there's the other part is the judgment of the curse. Right. When we entered into an oath with the Most High, we entered into a curse. Right. That's why sometimes you'll see that Israel entered into a curse with the Most High. Curse because it's great if you keep it, but if you don't, you got to pay the penalty. Right. And now you have to live in that curse. That's what we are doing right now. We're living in that curse. Right. Cursed shall thou be in the field. Cursed shall thy fruit of thy womb. All of these are the curses of breaking the oath with the Most High, right? Well, you always look at the good side, but the bad side, it's like, man, it's like getting a credit card. It's like getting a new car or whatever. It's like looking at the car, everything is great, right? You're looking at the opportunity to use the car, but then when they say you don't pay that bill, right? You don't pay that bill, now the interest rate go way up. And you're like, yo, how my interest rate damn near 29%? That's crazy. 29% of my bill? Yeah. You forgot when you signed your signature on the line, you agreed to the stipulations. You entered into an oath, a contract, an agreement that has benefits and it has judgments or curses or penalties. Now you got to deal or pay the piper and deal with the penalties. It's the same thing. So we should never want to do that, you know, unless we understand the circumstances of our actions.
You gotta understand it fully before you make it. Put your name on the dotted line.
Right. That's why some people who don't pay attention, they'll say they enter these contracts and they just sign without looking at it. They'll say the devil's in the details. Because in this society, in this realm, people who are in corporate America or in the music industry, the film industry, whatever that is, who are lawyers, who are bankers, whatever, to get an incentive or to get a leg up over you, they'll put information in the fine print that you ain't going to read or you may not understand what it's talking about, right? That's not on them. They said that's your due diligence to go figure that out. You better go get you a lawyer or get somebody smart to be able to read that stuff. Because if not, then, hey, you're going to be held liable because you agreed to it. You're agreeing to stipulations that you don't even know that you're agreeing to, right? So now back in Judith 8. So we have verse 15 now. So it says, for if he will not help us within these 5 days, he hath power to defend us when he will, even every day, or to destroy us before our enemies. So he don't have to wait 5 days. He could come and help us whenever, at the right moment. He may say, hey, it's the 5th day. I ain't doing nothing. I'm going to wait for them to come, right? They're going to come, and as they about to draw their sword, boom, I'm wiping them out. Or I have purpose that when they come, a quarter of you ain't right. They're going to kill about a quarter of y'all. The ones who I wanted to have be killed, they're going to kill them. And then after all of them is killed, then I'm going to save the rest of y'all, right? We don't know the purpose of the Most High's full intentions. We just have to rely on him and trust on him that he will do us righteousness and justice at the time appointed. All right. So it says, verse 16, do not bind the counsels of the Lord our power. For Yahweh is not as man that he may be threatened. Neither is he as a son of man that he should be wavering. Right? You can't threaten the Most High. It's like, look, you're going to help me. If you ain't going to help me, then we're going to do this. We're going to move on our own accord. Right? That's a threat. In the sense when you look at it to the Most High, because you're forcing his hand, that if he don't do what you want him to do, then now you're going to go and move a different direction. That's wicked, right?
So they should have just asked them and just shut up after that. Don't say nothing else.
Ask them who?
Ask them to save the city and then just leave it alone. Don't say what you're going to do. If y'all don't save the city, we're going to give up to the guy.
Right.
Say that to the Most High.
Right.
You'll say, can you save us?
Yeah, pray to the Most High. Exactly. Right. Don't give him a timetable.
No.
Right.
But they pressured the governor, and the governor pressured the Most High.
Right. He put that out there to say this is what's going to happen. Can't do. That's why she went and called the ancients of the sea, the elders, to kind of say, look, we can't. Right. I got a different alternative to what you guys are talking about, because that's. But yes, you're right. We should never go and say the Most High got to help us within a certain time period, right? That's like somebody saying, I need some help fixing my kitchen sink, right? It's working, but I need help fixing it. Can you come help me? Yeah, I can come help you. All right, well, you got to be here by 2:00. Wait, I got other things going on. You don't know what I got going on, right? Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now. If you ain't here by 2 o'clock, then I'm about to find somebody else. Now you can say, okay, find somebody else then, right? Save yourself, fix yourself then, right? It ain't gonna get fixed, right? And this is a God with the Most High. You can't say, listen, all right, Most High, you gonna help us? You always helped us in the past, but you gotta help us in 5 days. 5 days? You don't know that I wasn't gonna help you until the 8th day. Right? The 8th day I was planning on help. Now you gotta tell me I gotta force my hand to do it because you said do it because of what you said in agreement to that. No. Right? So that is threatening to the Most High. That's tempting the Lord in this regard.
Jeremiah 32:27. It says, behold, I am the Lord, the God of all flesh. Is there anything too hard for me?
Right. Most High, like, you know, what happened with the Assyrians in the camp when the Most High sent the angel, we was going to go to war. He sent the angels to go kill all of them. We didn't have to lift a sword. Right? The Most High could send a disease or a plague in the night, in a moment, and wipe you all out. Right? The Lord sent, boils upon the Hamites when they took the Ark of the Covenant, jacked them up. Where they came back and was like, here, take this back and give them some kind of a compensation for it. Yeah. Hemorrhoids. Yeah. Jack them up. It was like, man, since we had this thing, we've been all jacked up. Right? So the Most High can fight and defend us in various different ways that we don't realize how easy it is for him. So we don't have to have a timetable to have salvation come. It'll come when the Most High wants to come. Right. That's why when even Yahushua said, when the kingdom come, he said, no man knoweth that hour or day. Save the Most High. Right? Yahushua ain't pressuring the Most High and said, look, we got to do this by 2012. Or we got to do this by year 1999 because them brothers down there, they done make an oath. Right? You had that happen when you had men make an oath and said by a year before the year 2000, Christ is coming back. Right? And they made the agreement. They sold their cars, quit their jobs, everything. They was out there wilding. Then what happened? Most times, like, heck is y'all to come tell me that I got to send my son when y'all want me to send my son to come redeem y'all. All right, we'll see. And it came and went, right? And the faith of all those men went with it. And went out with it, right? When it didn't come, their spirit went with it. They didn't have that Holy Spirit no more. Back out in the world. Right?
They didn't realize that the Most High delay in his coming because even later on, more people came into the truth.
Yep.
A whole lot more came into the truth. It just blew up like that.
In various different places. Because back then, we was predominantly here in the Americas, right? Predominantly in certain places in the Caribbean, like Jamaica. But we wasn't, throughout Europe like how it is now. Now you got people who watching online and watching, able to travel based on what they see. They're able to travel out there to see, what the landscape was. So now you can see it's spread all over the place, right? It's spread all over the place where it was just getting its roots back around that time. Now it's took off in the last 20 years, right? On a higher level than it did from the 70s. So now verse 17. Therefore, let us wait for salvation of him and call upon him to help us. And he will hear our voice if it please him, right? So that's kind of what Gabar was just saying. We were supposed to just ask the Most High, pray to the Most High that he come help us, not constrain him, right? Let it fall on his initiative of how you want to do it. And that's why the last part says, if it please him, right? Because it's up to his will. He may say, nah, it's not time. Y'all gotta go into captivity because that's the will of the Lord, right? He ain't going to help because of whatever. But in this case, we know what the outcome is going to be, right? Verse 18, for there arose none in our age, neither is there any now in these days, neither tribe, nor family, nor people, city among us, which worship gods made with hands, as have been aforetime. Right. So in this state, we had a much better place as a people. We don't have people out here going and doing idolatry, right? Making idols and doing all this stuff, right? So the Most High should be, willing to help us. Now, when we start doing those things, that's when the Most High leave us to our own ruin, right? He leave us to now deal and oversee each other in the right way, where we can go and check and see who's doing those things. He leaves that responsibility to the stewards, to the men, the overseers, the seers, the prophets, to go and warn them to stop doing what they're doing. But in this case, we ain't had that, right? That's what she's saying. For there arose none in our age, neither is there any now in these days, neither tribe, nor family, nor people, nor city among us, which worship gods made with hands, as have been aforetime. For the which cause our fathers were given to the sword, and for a spoil, and had a great fall before our enemies. So when we did have that happen, we fell. Right? The Most High gave us over to our own ruin, right? And we became captives under the nations because we broke away from the Most High and violated the curse, or violated the oath of keeping his will. Right. It says, but we know none other God, therefore we trust that he will not despise us, nor any of our nation. For if we be taken so, all Judea shall lie waste, and our sanctuary shall be spoiled, and he will require the profanation thereof at our mouth. So now, if this does happen, Judea going to be destroyed, right? And we now have to have had a cause amends with his judgment or the curse that fell upon us for these things happening, right? It says, and the slaughter of our brethren, and the captivity of the country, and the desolation of our inheritance. When will he turn over our heads among the Gentiles, wheresoever we shall be in bondage, and we shall be an offense and a reproach to all them that possess us. For our servitude shall not be directed to favor, but the Lord our power shall turn it to dishonor, right? So now, even when we're in the captivity, the Most High is going to make us a burdensome stone unto them, and then come and deliver us at a certain point. It says now, 24. Now, therefore, O brethren, let us show an example to our brethren, because their hearts depend upon us, and the sanctuary, and the house, and the altar rest upon us. So we, as the Zaquans, the ancient, the wise ones, the elders, let's be the example. Let's be that beacon of light to them. We got to go and advise them in the right way, right? We got to go and change this whole thing up, right? It says, because everything rests upon us. The state of Israel is now falling on our shoulders. It says, moreover, let us give thanks to the Lord our power, which trieth us, even as he did our fathers, right? So throughout all different generations, the Most High always will try individuals, or he will try the nation as a whole to see where their heart lies. So now she's going to go back in time to, there's always a remembrance. Judith did it. Mattathias did it. Paul did it, where we have to go back in time and see how the Most High defended or redeemed us in the height of our salvation, or our plight, or our siege, to show how the Lord always shows favor unto us if we do right by him. It says, remember what things he did to Abraham, and how he tried Isaac, and what happened to Jacob in Mesopotamia of Syria, when he kept the sheep of Laban and his mother's brother, right? So the Lord will try your patience. He will try your trust to see if you will stand the course to do his will. Same thing with Abraham and Isaac, when the Most High told Abraham to go sacrifice Isaac, when you read Genesis 22, right? And Isaac, was a young lad, and Abraham went forth and did it, right? Isaac was like, Dad, I know what's going on. I know what the Most High said to do. Go ahead. That's what needs to be done. If this is the Lord's will, go ahead with it, right? And we see that they went forth with it to a point, right? So they were going to go and do the sacrifice, but the Most High came and sent the angel to say, nah, I have a sacrifice ready over there in the thicket. Go and grab him and take your son off this altar, right? So the Lord will do it. Even with Jacob and his wives, right? When Laban tricked them those years with his sheep, right? And he said, oh, you got to do this, and 7 years you'll do this, and then another 7 years. His faith never wavered on what his outcome or the goal was supposed to be. So we see these things as a trust, a confirmation to say if you're going to stay the course and always stand with the Most High, right? It says in verse 27, for he have not tried us in the fire as he did them. For the examination of their hearts, neither have he taken vengeance on us, but the Lord does scourge them that come near unto him to admonish them, right? So we have not gone through some of the severe trials as some other men have gone through, right? It tells you that in Hebrews. We have not been tried into the blood like Paul and Christ and Peter and some of these apostles. They actually had to go through death to stand to be called a follower of Yahushua or an advocate for the truth. We have not gone through that, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was going to read this part, Acts 11. This is a different situation, but it's a different situation also. Acts chapter 11, verse 27. And it says, and in these days, Acts 11, 27. And in these days came prophets from Jerusalem unto Antioch, and there stood up one of them named Agabus, and signified by the Spirit that there should be great dearth throughout all the world, which came to pass in the days of Claudius Caesar. Then the disciples, every man according to his ability, determined to send relief unto the brethren which dwell in Judea. So there was a famine, a situation, and they were able to help one another in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
To send help, to send relief. I guess like, oh, we would do it.
Mm-hmm.
Someone here.
As opposed to giving ourselves into sin in order to get hate. That's like when the brother, I think he came to class, 2 brothers came to class, we dialed in and he was asking about, what if the only thing we had left to eat was pork? Should we eat the pork? Right? So it's the same thing. It's like, why would you go to sin? Why would you choose sin over death? Right? Why would you choose to go and violate the Most High, knowing that the Most High has power over everything? He has power over your spirit when it dies. So why would you choose to have that ill name upon you for choosing to eat or do something wicked? Number one. Number two, why wouldn't you have the faith to think that the Most High would come and provide for you if you're a righteous person anyway? Right? Remember, one of the holy prophets, when they didn't have any food, the Most High sent the ravens to go get them food. Right? The ravens went and found the prey, killed it, brought it back, and delivered it unto them for them to cook and eat. It's like, look, we ain't got no food here. All I see is swine's flesh. And you on your second day, right, of eating nothing. You on your second day, and now you have Satan messing in your mind. It's like, man, maybe you can just go do it and ask for forgiveness, right? Eat that swine's flesh, right? Yeah. Then now you're on your third day. And now you're starting to get weak. And you're like, oh, man, I'm going to die. I ain't got nothing. You know what? I'm going to do it, right? Not knowing that the raven is in flight with doggone two hens to drop them right there for you, right? The whole purpose was to see how long you was going to be patient on the Lord for him to deliver what he wanted for you. That's the same thing that's going on here. How long is you saying, I can wait? Your patience level, you're saying, is at this. That's all I'm going to wait. After that, I ain't waiting on the Lord no more. I ain't going to stand with him no more. I'm going to do my own thing. I take matters into my own hands, right? That's what we always do. We usually take matters into our own hands so easily instead of relying or praying to the Most High first and let reason and enterprise direct thy way in truth. We say, I'm going to do as I will right now. I think I know better of what I need to do. Yahweh Kana.
Or some brothers say they're going to make a name for themselves and end up perishing.
Yeah.
But Isaiah 66 and verse 17, you in this danger of this situation. Isaiah 66 verse 17, they that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the garden behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh, and the abomination and the mouse shall be consumed together, said the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
So you risk for the Most High killing you for that, or jack you up for that.
Mm-hmm.
When he can, I mean, certain situations like people like, oh, I've eaten like 3 hours, I'm gonna die or something,
Good.
So what verse are we now?
We at verse 28. It says, then said Ozias to her. This is like Ozias here is like Hosea, right? This is like Hosea that you read in the Bible. It says, all that thou hast spoken, all that thou hast spoken with a good heart, and there is none that may gainsay thy words. For this is not the first day wherein thy wisdom is manifested, but from the beginning of thy days all the people have known thine understanding, because the disposition of thine heart is good, right? So as they're sitting and listening to her, they're like, everything he's saying is on point. We cannot say anything, no buts, no why, but nothing. And we've known this for a long time about you, Judith. Everything you've always come to us and said, or anytime we seen you out, you was always with a good heart and had good intentions and had a good spirit about you, right? Always. So imagine having a sister like that, who's most importantly beautiful on the inside, spiritually. Then it says she was of a beautiful countenance on the outside, right? That's a treasure right there to have, right? And vice versa, right? For a sister to find a brother who is beautiful on the inside spiritually, but then calmly on the outside, right? Or attractive on the outside. I always make that case where if the inner would manifest what the outer looks like, it'd be a lot of, not good looking people out there in the earth, right? If the inner was a manifestation of what your outside shell looks like, you would have a lot of people who are sore in the eyes, as the scriptures say, right? It says in verse 30, but the people were very thirsty and have compelled us to do unto them as we have spoken, and to bring an oath upon ourselves, which we will not break. Therefore, now pray thou for us, because thou art a godly woman, and the Lord will send us rain to fill our cisterns, and we shall faint no more, right? So the people forced our hand into doing this. This is the same thing like during the time of Joshua, when the people made the oath with the Hamites that was dwelling in the land at that time, when they tricked them, saying that they weren't going to kill them. So when Joshua found out, he was like, what are you guys doing? This ain't no doggone foreigners from a far place. They live right there. They tricked you, but you've entered into an oath. You can't break it, right? So that's the same thing he's saying. Pray for us that the Lord will send rain, because ain't no rain. And if the 5 days go by and we don't have no rain and the Most High come save us, the agreement is we're going to go and surrender, right? So pray for us that the Most High going to send us rain. And if we get rain, then, we can go and fight, because they have, stopped up that we can't get any drink, right? They stopped up our access to getting any victual. So if the Lord sends us the rain, then we ain't got to worry about it. But you pray, because we can't break the oath. Everything you said is on point. We should have never done it. What was done is done at this point. They asked her to pray for them, because she was a godly sister.
Wow, it's a bad. I mean, it's a dire situation,
right?
It's a dire situation that we're in that state,
right?
That's they're waiting on us, like that.
And it's common where sometimes you make a rash decision or an irrational decision too soon, and then somebody come and tell you like, why'd you do that? You could have easily just went over there and got this for much cheaper, or had it for less labor or less this, and you like, really? Damn, I didn't know. It's like, well, why you ain't call me? You know how I did with this? You could have called me instead of making that rash decision. Now look, you don't sign the paperwork, so it is what it is now. You got to go through it. You got to break that. And then the person who you now signed the agreement, they got a clause in there that says, after you sign, you are now bound for the full payment. So you can break it. Okay, fine. You want to go deal with him, you go deal with him, but you're going to still pay me my full payment. Regardless of he was going to pay, if he was going to charge you a quarter of what I'm charging you. You signed it. It's an agreement, right? So that sometimes we make quick, irrational decisions without being patient and thinking it through, right? So that you don't put yourself in binds like, what the men did here with the oath that they made.
I've experienced that already.
Yeah.
I couldn't change.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
It was like 60 grand. I was just so upset I couldn't change.
Yeah.
I decided to go do it.
And at that point, it's like, sometimes people dwell on it and it eats them up. Yeah. But it's like at this point, it is what it is. Now you got to start making rational decisions to deal with the situation that you're in. So that's what they're doing now. They're like, all right, we're in this situation. The best situation that we can have right now, you being a godly sister and have always been on point, you go pray to the Most High for us, right, to help this situation. Remember, it says the prayer of a godly man availeth much. Or in this situation, a godly woman availeth much, meaning it has a lot of weight on it, where the Most High will hear or listen to that person because that person is doing his will, doing the right thing. So if that individual goes and advocates for the people, the Most High will show mercy on them. It's like, I'm vouching for you. That's like that thing that he got into, right? With that paperwork. If somebody else come and say, man, you lucky I know him, I'm gonna go talk to him for you, right? See what I can do.
Like that.
You can't do it, I can do it, right? So now Judith is the one that can go, let me go see what I can do to help fix this situation that you done got us all into, right? So it says, verse 32, then said Judith unto them, hear me, and I will do a thing which shall go throughout all generations to the children of our nation. Right? Hear me now. The spirit is telling me that there's something monumental about to go down here, that people are going to be talking about for generations to come, as what we have this story right now, because we in this generation reading and talking about this thing that she did, right? It says, ye shall stand this night in the gate, and I will go forth with my waiting woman. And within the days that ye have promised to deliver the city to our enemies, the Lord will visit Israel by mine hand. Right? So now I'm going to go and take care of this. Me and my waiting woman. You guys stand here, stay back at the gate, and we're going to go handle this at the hand of a woman. Right? Which, when you look at, honor, men of honor, right? When you're a warrior, you're a king, what have you, no man, even if you just a regular Joe, regular person, no man wants to have that reputation of, no, not that you're a woman, but that a woman beat you up, or that a woman defeated you, or that a woman did such and such, right? You don't want to have it like, you lost to a woman, because the idea is that we're the head, we're physically stronger than women, so that stain doesn't go out like that. Sometimes they even have sports stains where the men play the women. And it's expected that the men beat the women in certain sports that is favored for men, right? I remember they did the one, like they'll do it in tennis, where they had Serena playing, I forget who it was that she played against. I think the dude from UK, right? But it's expected, I think it was Andy Murray. It's expected that he beats her, right? It's expected that he beats her because he's a top-notch tennis player, right? He serves much harder than she does, right? He moves much faster than she does, right? So you expect that. But then if she wins, now when he go back amongst his boys, like, yo, man, you lost to her? Yo, it's certain. Now, hold on, but come on now. I get it. But they're not on the same level as us, right? You could probably pick the middle of the pack, man, and you should beat her, right? That's the case. But in this case, we're talking about being a king or a warrior and fighting swords and knives and everything else. That was a dishonor, especially back then, right? That was a dishonorable thing back then to have that happen. So the Most High is going to put more valiance on Israel to have this woman with her waiting woman to go and deliver Israel, right, by her hand, right? It says, but inquire not ye of mine act, for I will not declare it unto you till the things be finished that I do. So don't ask me what I'm going to do. Don't ask me about the details. Don't ask me, anything, or just give me a hint. Don't ask me nothing until it's finished. Then I'll lay it down for you. Yahweh.
Judges chapter 9, verse 53.
The bar. He's reading.
Yeah, Judges chapter 9, verse 53. And a certain woman cast a piece of a millstone upon Abimelech's head, and all to break his skull. Unto the young man, his armor bearer, and said unto him, draw thy sword and slay me, that men say not of me, a woman slew him. And his young man thrust him through, and he died.
Exactly. He didn't want that to be the reputation that a woman killed me, right? You come kill me.
Well, that's what he's saying.
That's what he's saying. That's what he said. Draw thy sword and slay me, that men say not of me, a woman slew me. Right? I want you to kill me than to say that woman killed me. You know what that's going to do to my name, my reputation, even after I'm gone? Right? I don't want to have that. I still got family like, oh, your daddy got killed by a woman. Oh, he ain't nothing, right? You don't want to have that slander. So he said, let me die at the hands of a man. Right? So it's the same thing. This woman, Deborah, how you pronounce it from the English to the Hebrew, she was the one who went and delivered Israel at that time. And now the Most High is doing it again in this sister's time here in the book of Judith. So now I'm reading 34 again, but inquire not ye of mine act, for I will not declare it unto you till the things be finished that I do. Then said Ozias and the princes unto her, go in peace, or be Godspeed, and the Lord power be before thee, to take vengeance on our enemies. So as she's moving, as she's going to do what she's now telling them that she's going to do, they said, let the Most High go with you, right? She's not going to go alone. The Most High going to go with her, right? That's how you always think. Whenever you go out to war, whatever you go out to do, Most High be with you, to defend you, to fight for you, to instill wisdom upon you, whatever it is, you want the Lord to always be your guide, right? To be your protector, your defender. So that's what they're saying here, right? And the Lord God be before thee to take vengeance on our enemies. 36. So they returned from the tent, right? They're still on the top of her house in the tent that she built. So they had this meeting at, and went to their wards, or to their own places of habitation where they live, their dwelling place. So that's kind of what now this sister has done. So now, when you have examples like this, like I mentioned, the Bible is written towards men, right? Proverbs 8:4, unto you, O men, I call. The majority of the time, the Most High raises up men to be saviors, but he also raises up women at times, like we just read in Judges, and we're reading now in Judith, to also be saviors or deliverers to help defend the nation. So that we know that the women also, sisters also play an important part, important role. Sometimes the narrative is out there, there ain't no good women out there in the nation of Israel, right? Judith is probably reincarnated here. That one of the sisters is Judith. So you're going to say that she's wicked? Deborah is probably reincarnated somewhere. She just hasn't had the purpose, or they haven't had the purpose to do what it is that the Most High wants them to do yet. But you got, some brothers that's out there shaming them and saying that there ain't nothing and ain't no good women and da-da-da-da, they all bitches, they all this. No, you can't do that. You can't say that because you don't know every spirit. The same way you don't know all the spirits of the men, right? Some brothers that's in their camp, so in your camp, turn out to be wicked, and then you have to kick them out. But at the time, you thought they was all righteous, right? So we can't comprehend everything on the Most High's level as it pertains to everybody.
You can't judge the book by the cover.
No. right? So that's kind of where we can draw from when the Lord now brings stories like this one pertaining to Judith and how he's going to use her to defend or fight for the nation when the men, the elders, the ancient, they themselves were faint-hearted, right? They fainted and became wavering on trusting the Most High that he would deliver them throughout any circumstance. Okay? All right, so that concludes the 8th chapter. It's about 2:15. We're going to come back roughly around 2:45 to finish up the 9th chapter in Judah. All right, again, this is the feast day, right? New moon, memorial, blowing of the trumpets, even though it's Sabbath day. So you are able or permitted to go and cook with fire on this day. Prepare you a festive meal in honor and to celebrate the Most High's feast day on the Sabbath day. All right. So shalom. We'll be back in about 30 minutes.
Shalom.